Greetings to everyone watching live and everyone watching after the fact. Shout out to the faithful and salute to the patrons. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander in Chief, and I'm here to bring you all another House of the Dragon episode review. How's everyone doing tonight? So tonight I'm going to be going ahead and giving you all my thoughts on season 1, episode 2, entitled The Rogue Prince. And just to give you all a brief synopsis of this week's episode in season 1, episode 2 of House of the Dragon, entitled The Rogue Prince. Princess Rhaenyra dives deep into the prophecies about House Targaryen while confronting a realm that exists, the idea of a woman on the Iron Throne, and Prince Daemon, embittered over being passed over as heir of Westeros, prepares to go to war. You know what? Now that I read that synopsis, which unfortunately, I did forget where I did get that synopsis from. Actually, I need to go back and get a more, because that just seems like a general synopsis for the season more so than just this episode. But essentially, what we got in this week's episode, we're picking up. Funny enough, we actually got a time skip in this week's episode, which I wasn't expecting. So we pick up 6 months after the end of last week's episode, and essentially we got two main storylines going on right now, or at least two big plot points going on right now. The first one has to deal with Lord Corlys, who is one of the members of the the small council. He is also the master of ships, and he was one of the big secondary characters that was introduced in last week's episode. Essentially, it's the storyline. So his storyline, which was initially introduced sort of briefly last week, in regards to this pirate raid that is happening just off the shore, and that is pretty much ransacking his supply lines and his fleet, taking out his men, taking out his ships. That's coming to a head because now, we first heard about this in episode 1 6 months ago by the show's calendar, right? So now it's progressed for 6 months without no type of address by the king, without any type of response from the kingdom at large, and it's getting to the point now where it's he's lost men, he's lost money, he's lost supplies, he's lost merchandise, all that type of jazz. That coined with the fact that now he's actually making a political move in trying to wed off his daughter, to arrange her to King Viserys. So that's the first main point line we got going on in this week's episode. The second is we find out what Daemon's been up to during this time skip, because they learn in this week's episode that he has gone and commandeered Dragonstone, which we saw at the end of last week's episode was promised to Rhaenyra, which of course she isn't there. She's still in King's Landing with her dad and whatnot. But essentially he took up Dragonstone, which we know is that castle, that land is promised to whoever the heir is. So he just went ahead and did that. And apparently he stole the dragon egg that belonged to Rhaenyra's baby brother, who passed last week's episode. So, and he also went ahead and put on this ruse of getting married and already having an heir of his own. So that's essentially and of course, Viserys and the rest of the small council, and surprisingly Rhaenyra herself, they have to go ahead and respond to that. Well, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, no, you know what? Yeah, I will. You know what? I'll throw this in here as a third plot line, but it's actually kind of related to both of them. The other big thing going on in this week's episode as well is that Viserys now has to consider getting remarried, taking on a new wife. That way, of course, because we're still dealing with this problem that he doesn't have a male heir. So that's still an issue. And again, it's been 6 months since the end of the last episode, and there hasn't been any progress in that regard. So, but that story is kind of the one that's tying both of them together, because as we find out by episode's end, Corlys is now going to begin working with Daemon because, again, Viserys hasn't responded to Corlys' concerns this entire time. And when he does finally reach out an olive branch, with the marriage of his daughter, Viserys turned him down. So now he's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to the Targaryen that actually seems to be taking care of shit. So that's where the episode leaves off. So for the most part, that's as brief a synopsis as I could really give. Hopefully, if you're tuning in, you've already seen the episode to check it out. And even if you haven't, not too many spoilers necessary, except for that last one that I just mentioned. But yeah, so just general thoughts on the episode. Solid episode. Particular things I dug about this week's episode. We finally got the intro, the proper intro, which I thought the animation was kind of cool. I got to go back and watch it for a second time just to catch everything. But very reminiscent of the original series. We're still using the original score, which I was kind of surprised by. So I guess we're still using the main Game of Thrones score for like the main title. Because as I mentioned before, I dug the little rendition that was done in last week's episode, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of the ones, just another version that's going to be available on the soundtrack whenever that gets ready to come out. Because they got an OST coming. So, but yeah, so we finally got the opening, the opening credits for this series, which I thought were pretty cool. Other than that, I mean, like I said, once again, the cast is really good. The acting's really strong. I'm digging the characters so far, with a couple of exceptions. Corlys is still a character that I'm digging so far, just because the actor, does such a good job. He makes him intriguing. He makes you want to watch him. You want to see how his story goes. But his wife, oh man, Princess. How you pronounce the name? Rhaenys. Princess Rhaenys. Yeah, that character. Can't say I'm a fan, just because I'm starting to see what they're doing with her, and it's a little upsetting just because I'm like, oh, so she's just going to be the old bitter, the old maid, if you will, right? She's just going to be the old maid. And funny enough, I didn't even pull up my graphic that I got here. Yeah. So yeah, she's just going to be the old maid, I'm assuming. And that was a little unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like, using that as her initial introduction would have been fine, but I guess we're just going to wait and see what more they do with that character. Who knows? Maybe her role will expand. Who knows? Maybe something will happen to Corlys whenever he's taken off the board, and then she'll step up then. Maybe they'll work together, against Viserys and the rest of the small council, more or less kind of like a Lady Macbeth type of thing. Maybe that's what we'll get from them. But like I said, I'm digging Corlys so far. I'm still digging him. But yeah, Rhaenys was a little bit of a letdown in this episode. I will say this though, context matters. And that line that was that big sort of, point of contention in the trailer, with the whole messaging of the series and whatnot, context matters. And I'm glad now getting that line within the proper context, it kind of clears things up. Like I said, you do still have a strong female empowerment narrative in the series. Like, and as I mentioned this before in last week's episode, guys, if that's not your bag, I understand. Me personally, it's not my bag either. However, that is sort of the crux of this show, and that's going to be consistent throughout. It's going to be present throughout. So I be forewarned. I told y'all twice now. If that ain't your bag, this probably isn't going to be the show for you. But with that particular line, I will say, given within the proper context, that line has definitely more to do with character than I think just the message. So there's that. Okay, so other things I want to talk about in this episode. I continue to like Prince Daemon. However, I'm still waiting for the nuance with his character, because right now they're still more or less just playing him off as the young, ambitious, passed over, the second son, as Corlys refers to him and Daemon at the end of the episode, the second son. And I'm like, there has to be more to this character than just that, right? I mean, come on, guys. He is the biggest name in the in the cast for a lot of fans. Well, okay, I'll put it like this: not a lot of fans, but for a lot of casual viewers who are more or less familiar with Matt Smith, He is the draw to the show, right? Or at least one of them. So I'm hoping that, yeah, like I'm saying, I'm still waiting for the nuance with his character. Don't think he got enough screen time this week. I will say that, but the scenes he were in was effective. I'm definitely looking forward to see what they do with him. And then let's see. I will say I continue to be impressed with what we do with Viserys. Like I actually like him. I think he's a very likable character. I'm highly impressed by that. I liked his story this episode. With the whole thing about having to rewed and the fact that he's still grieving and whatnot. And then the relationship that we see that he develops with the Hand's daughter, Alicent, I like it. It's charming and whatnot. I kind of saw Viserys' big twist at the end. I kind of saw that coming. I think from the opening scene, I more or less saw that coming. Alicent, though, is a character I'm a little bit more curious with how they're going to write her. And I'll explain to you why. Because I'm not gonna lie, I did feel as though we were being conned, if you were, pretty much with her portrayal in this episode. They make it seem as though she enjoys the king's company as much as he does her, right? Like it's a mutual thing. Almost to the point where the way in which I was able to pick up where this thing was leading was because I thought she was legitimately smitten by him. But seeing the scene with her and her dad and her reaction to what Viserys does in that last meeting, I'm starting to get the sense that I'm like, nah, I think she might just be playing a role. You know what I mean? She's just playing along, going along to get along. And I could very easily see that, they're pretty much using that because she's reluctant and clearly seems like she doesn't want to be doing what it is she's doing. I could very easily see them turning her into, eventually actually becoming more like Rhaenys, right? Where, she becomes old, embittered, feels as though, she doesn't have didn't have a choice in the matter with anything that happened to her. It was just her duty, all that type of shit. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, that's the shit. I don't have time to listen to that shit. I really don't. Hopefully that's not the case, but we know that there is at least one, there's the main time skip that has yet to happen, at which point Alicent will be an adult. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of speculate that is more or less what the adult her will be like, especially since I'm almost positive, or okay, let me not say I'm almost positive, but I do get the sense that she will outlive Viserys, obviously. So she'll become the new old maid, right? And yeah, I could see them very easily turning her into that like old, bitter, jaded type character, the old maid, which will be kind of unfortunate because I like her character. I think she's very sweet, and she's very elegant, and so yeah. Now the other thing I'm just gonna bring up, and actually it's kind of in terms of the characters, it's kind of the last little thoughts I have about the episode is just what they've been doing with Rhaenyra, because this is actually the first episode where I started seeing qualities with her that I'm like, if they continue with this, I'm not necessarily sure I will enjoy the character as much as I have, just because I'm getting the Arya thing from her, that or Arya energy from her, and I don't really care for it. Yeah. And I think, and I saw the preview for next week's episode. I think we're just going to get more of that next week. I understand that they're doing the whole strong, independent woman thing with her, or eventually that's where we're going to go. But I would prefer it. It has to make sense. That's all I'm asking. I'm just asking it to be a I just want it to be a believable progression of the character and not just her being, rage against the machine, rebel without a cause, if you will, or even if she does have a cause, like rebellious just for the sake of rebellious, like that I've never cared, like that shit I don't care for. Like she should grow out of that shit. Now in this particular episode with her, pretty much running off to Dragonstone to confront Daemon, that was a little bit personal because he did take her late baby brother's dragon egg. And essentially he took her castle too. So, and she was also trying to prevent him and the hand from coming to blows because there's no way Sir Otto was going to make it out of that. No, there's no way. There's no way. Daemon was going to wax that ass. So yeah, she was in essence the deterrent, right? She showed up with her, Daemon got a dragon, she got a dragon. And it's like, bitch, you won't cast fire. We just gonna be some burnt up motherfuckers, right? But she was able to disarm Daemon without actually having to resort to violence. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Granted, like I said, I'm looking for that nuance with Daemon's character. But I was convinced the only reason why Daemon did that was because she's still a child. Once we do get to that big time skip when she's an adult, he ain't gonna give a fuck. He ain't gonna give a fuck. He gonna forget she ever was a child, and at that point, it's gonna be, it's gonna be fair game. It's gonna be fair game. Survival of the fittest at that point. So, but like I said, I do like the manner in which she was able to resolve that conflict. I don't like how she kind of hung it over her dad's head when he found out about it, and he illustrated it to her. And of course, because there's the whole thing about, they haven't been talking, they're both grieving, this, that, and the third. But the thing about it is, it's like, I'm not sure if Viserys really drove home the danger element. Like he told her, it's like, you do realize you could have been killed, right? And he's like, it's kind of important. You are my only heir. But I just kind of wish Viserys would have driven home, or maybe he doesn't believe it. I kind of wish he would have driven home the messages like, don't think just because that's your uncle that he won't actually kill you. We are talking about kingship here, right? So, but who knows? Maybe Viserys doesn't think that Daemon would go there. I don't know why he wouldn't. But again, like I said, well, we'll see. Now, let me get back to what I was saying about Rhaenyra, though. If she, because she has the whole tomboyish dragon rider, warrior princess type shit going on, right? And my thing is, it would make more sense with that character if, I'm not trying to rewrite the story, but hear me out. I think it's still too early for her to immediately sort of ape that. Yes, she did lose her mom, she did lose her brother. I would like to think that it's not until more tragedy befalls her that she becomes hardened in that manner. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for an example, let's say something bad happens to Alicent, right? Or Daemon ends up, killing her dad. Or Daemon kills her dragon or something, or something like that, or he finally does openly threaten her, something like that. That would be the thing that would sort of harden her. You know what I mean? Because we know that's what's going to happen with that character eventually, is that she will become that sort of, character. But for her to be aping like that now, I'm like, I don't know. It seems a little too premature. You know what I mean? We know they're not going to do the complete 180 shit like with Sansa in the first series, right? Where she was a completely different character, and then these tragedies befell her, and then she, turned out like that. We know they're not going to do that with this character, but I digress. But we'll see, because it's all a matter of just, the manner and time in which we're working with, and the amount of story we get within what that period of time is supposed to be. I think the fact that her being the heir would already kind of force her to kind of grow up. And she's the lady of her house now, right? Her mom's gone. So it's sort of like, yeah, she's going to kind of already have to fulfill, kind of grow up, if you were. Because, now it's not about her, which I think is what Viserys was trying to get across to her in that scene, is that it's like, it wasn't just you, again, it wasn't just you flying off to confront your uncle. It was, the next ruler of the realm, the next protector of the realm, putting themselves in harm's way needlessly, just for personal reasons. But we'll see. So for the most part, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on the episode. Like I said, it's still a solid episode. Thought it was cool. Definitely will be checking in. Still not convinced to this point if I'll continue to review the series episode by episode, or if I would just wait to finish the whole thing and just do a season-long review, much like how I did with like Mandalorian and stuff like that. So, but again, like I said, I appreciate everyone who tuned in to last week's episode review. Everyone who shared it, gave it a thumbs up, all that jazz. Thanks so much. Interest-wise, I mean, I definitely know there's interest. I started hearing from subscribers and some of the faithful that I hadn't heard in some time. They're happy to see me start reviewing the show again and stuff like that. But like I said, I just got to see exactly just how well these videos do before I'm actually able to, prioritize them. But like I said, you guys can help out in the comments below. Let me know if you guys want to continue to see me review it weekly. You guys just let me know. Or if you just prefer a complete season review, hey, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Also, leave your thoughts on the episode. Let me know where you guys think this whole thing is going. Of course, if you read Fire and Blood, you know exactly where it's going, but I still want to hear what you guys have to say. Once again, leave those comments in the comments below. So want to go ahead, thank everyone for joining me again this week. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please, guys, like this. If you dig this review, if you don't dig this review, you think it's doo-doo. Personally, I mean, if you want to thumb it down, by all means, you can thumb it down. I'm not suggesting or asking you to. Just don't say anything. But if you liked it, and if you really did like it, hey, man, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Share it on social media. Share it with your friends. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. All the links are in the description box below. You can also become a patron if you have not yet done so. Become a patron. Patreon.com/OAW. We have multiple tiers of actually, where is the bam? There it is. Yeah, patreon.com/OAW. Link is also in the description box below. Multiple tiers available for all types of video requests, or if you just want to get access to some Patreon exclusive content at the $5 tier, the Vote Keeper tier. Yep. You get access to all Patreon exclusive content. You also get an invite to join in on the Discord server. So yeah, once again, that is patreon.com/OAW. If you want to go ahead and become a patron, have your benefits and perks redeemed next month, you got to become a patron before the 1st. So once again, patreon.com/OAW. Okay, special announcement time. What to keep an eye out for. Tuesday, we're actually going to do the live monthly Q&A on Tuesday night. We're going to do a special night tonight, Tuesday night. I know I don't never stream on the weekdays, right? This Tuesday, so day after tomorrow, this Tuesday, probably at, I haven't decided the time yet, either 6 or 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Is going to be the I'm probably going to do 7, but the live monthly Q&A. So be sure to tune in right here for that. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. Oh, yeah, there we go. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I am signing off, and until next time, peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?